Hey there, welcome back to another episode of the Private Practice Podcast. We are just on the Midland Highway now, in between Dalesford and Castlemaine, and we're heading to Bendigo just for a little bit of a day trip on the last day of vacation. And thought, got an hour in the car, it'll be a great time to have some company, to have you here with me, have a little bit of company, and record an episode for you. So what I want to talk about today is the bad advice that's going around out there about, private practice. And I think it's really important that we have this conversation because we haven't had it before. And I don't want you to get sucked into the bad advice because I want you to be really successful. If you know me, if you've been in my world for a hot minute, if you're in practice momentum, you will know I'm the no fluff stuff, right? I'm just going to get straight to the point because my approach is quick wins, right? I want you to have quick wins. But one of the things that I can share with you is the stories and the patterns and the themes that come up from the people that I work with and the people that I speak to every single day about what they're being told to do by, I don't know, teachers, their peers, colleagues, supervisors, don't get me started there, and, other private practice coaches. And I just want to give you like the flip side so that before you run ahead and implement this other advice, you've got an opportunity for yourself to think critically about it first, because I don't want you, getting yourself all twisted up in knots and everything. Your practice gets to be easy. So, in no particular order, I've got three in my mind, but I'll probably forget them because I'm driving and I don't have a piece of paper in front of me. Okay, so the first piece of advice around private practice that I think is just like really, 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 really bad piece of advice is you don't have to niche at all, right? You can be a generalist and still have a fully booked private practice. Wrong. There are going to be polarity responders, I know, that listen to this and go, oh, that's not true. I'm a generalist and I'm fully booked. Well, if that's you, amazing. But yeah, you're in the minority. So this is for those who listen to that advice or get told that advice. What I want you to know is that it isn't going to work. And the reason why is because when you're writing things on your website that say, oh, this is one that I see every day. I provide a safe space, it's non-judgmental, all of this, where you'll be seen and heard. Everybody says that, right? But if we don't know who you're working with and who you help and, who your client is and all those kinds of things, you're never going to get a referral. You might have spent, $3,000 to $5,000 outsourcing the development of your website to somebody, and maybe you're really pleased with it and you really, 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 really love the vibe of your website, but it's not converting. The reason it's not converting is because when people look at it, they like the vibe of it, but they're not ever really sure what you do or who you help. And especially too, if there are other, well, I see them as red flags because I'm a business consultant and coach, right? So to me, it's a red flag because it's getting in the way of you getting the clients. But a client just can't resonate if you're fluffing around saying, I walk beside you on your journey to health and well-being, right? Well, all therapists do that. You don't need to say it, and that's not a niche. And when you are so general, and then you do the other thing as well, which is like you say that you work with children and teenagers and adults and women and life transitions and this and that. And it's too much and it becomes overwhelming. Here's the thing. When you stand for everything, you actually end up standing for nothing. And that's a problem because it means a client can't book in because they don't know if you can help them or not. And they're not confident because you're a generalist. It means that people like me, we can't refer a client to you because we're not actually sure what you do. Um, and do you know what I mean? It gets in the way of you being able to get the clients that you really, really want to be able to get. So let's imagine that you really like a holistic approach and that's your thing, and you do a little bit of counseling, and maybe you also do Reiki or, flower therapy or something like that, right? You really value a holistic approach, but you don't say it on your website. Or if you do, you say it in very vague general terms because you're worried about losing somebody, right? So downplaying and hiding things and stuff like that also blocks people from finding you. If you used your voice, right, and you said, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I'm all about, and this is who I help. And if any of this lands for you, then go ahead and take this next step, you will get bookings, right? Um, so if you said, for example, I'm a holistic counselor that really believes in mind, body, spirit connection when it comes to reducing anxiety in mothers whose children have been diagnosed with ADD. That is so specific. Straight away, I know who to refer to you, how you work with them, and all that kind of stuff. You're going to fill up pretty quickly. When you look at the research, you will see that generalist practices take years to get to where other specialist practices get to in mere months. So it doesn't make sense for you to be a generalist. And if your supervisor has ever said to you, you don't need to niche, I would really think about maybe getting a different supervisor. It's the wrong advice. Um, Sometimes I think people share with us information and guidance from a well-intentioned place, but also from the space of their own experience, of course, their education or lack thereof. All right. Um, so you niching is the good advice. Being generalist, not good advice. The other advice that's out there is, if you want to start a private practice, you can't charge the recommended rate of 150 or 160, because you're just starting out. So for you should definitely be charging less. And also, that's a great way for you to get clients for your books, for your diary. Here's what I want to say about that. What I want to say about that is, again, it's not helpful advice to hear, because when we're thinking about pricing, for example, there's something called value perception, and it goes along the lines of, if something is priced higher, people tend to value it more, they get more from it, they get better results, they take better care of it. Think about if you got the latest Apple iPhone compared to if you went and got an iPhone from Cash Converters or something like that, right? You're going to look after the brand new Apple iPhone because you paid a lot more for it, right? It's the same with the work that you do. When you're undercharging, what's going to happen is people usually, I know there are always exceptions to the rule again, but usually what's happening is people are going on Psychology Today and they're looking around at all the other counsellors who are charging 150 or 160. Then they come across your website and they see that you're charging 80 or 90 or 100, and a couple of things are going to happen. They will think it's dodgy. They'll be like, why is this one so much less than all the others? So there'll be a perception that it's dodgy, it's scammy, they're not going to, or you don't know what you're doing yet, you're not good enough yet, all that kind of stuff. Do you think that person's going to book? No. This is the mental health. They're going to want the best of the best. They're not going to, think about you. You're going to go with the cheapest counsellor? No. You're going to go with the counsellor that's the right match, who's suitably qualified and experienced. So the price doesn't really factor into it. sometimes we get in our own heads, and because we have our own money stories or we have our own worth stories and stuff like that, we say to ourselves, well, they're right. I am just new. So, yeah, I am just starting out. I don't have the experience yet. I don't have this yet. I don't have that yet. So, I've got no right to charge the recommended fee. It's not true. You have every right to charge the recommended fee. The fee is recommended because we need to have a benchmark, a baseline. You start at that fee and then you go up. You go up in alignment with the things that are important and meaningful to you. But undercharging, doing things free, I mentioned this on a recent episode. I saw a counselor advertising free sessions on Instagram in exchange for testimonials. Now, you can't do that. Like, it's what type of quality client are you going to get? Think about when you've ever received something free. Did you go all in with it? Did you get so much value out of it? If you had paid $150 or $160, do you think you would have shown up differently? I bet you would have, right? I know I certainly would have. I know um, if somebody's saying to me, oh, come and learn this latest marketing strategy, on my free webinar, I'll go and register because in the moment I'm excited about it. I'm like, yeah, I want to learn the latest marketing strategy. Bring it on. Yeah, give it to me. I'm so excited about it. But then, as soon as I've registered for it, I'm flicking out and I'm scrolling on to the next thing. And then I'm going to get the email reminders, don't forget about the free webinar and stuff like that. And I've just tuned out now. I'm not really interested. And yeah, I'm probably not going to watch the free webinar. Versus if I heard about that webinar and they were like, this webinar is going to be $97 and I really wanted to do it, I'm going to pay that money and you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to turn up for that webinar. I'm going to make sure I take notes and I get the replay. I join the Facebook community that goes along with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to show up differently. And it's the same for our clients. They're going to show up differently. I think undercharging, when the advice that you receive is that you shouldn't or you can't because you're not XYZ, I think that that's really demoralizing. I think that's a way of bringing therapists down instead of raising them up. Um, and yeah, it's going to keep women, especially because it's mostly women in our community, playing small. And it's going to keep them stuck in a poverty mindset, in a scarcity mindset, over giving, under receiving, feeling guilty about every dollar that comes in or goes out, right? That is what's going to happen. And I do not want that for any private practice owner, right? No. Um, what else was I going to say? So, oh yeah, and that you should offer discounts and concessions as a way of building up the books when you're just starting in private practice. No, no. Why would you give away money you don't have? I mean, if you're not even paying yourself consistently, or you're not paying yourself the wage that you want or the salary that you need and all those kinds of things, it doesn't make any sense at all for you to be giving away money that isn't coming into the practice in the first place. All that thinking does, that strategy does, is, again, it keeps you feeling worthless. It keeps you feeling like you're not good enough. It inflames symptoms around imposter syndrome and stuff like that. You don't need that. Don't do it. Don't listen to that advice. You go in there and you say, when I open my private practice, my starting fee is $150. And then I will increase it when it feels right for me, based on the things that are important to me at that time, right? Your fee is nobody else's business, so don't even worry about it. Seriously. There was something else that I sort of touched on there a moment ago, and I'm just trying to remember what it was. It was about the fee. Oh, yeah, this is the other piece of bad advice. I don't know if this is advice or opinion. No, it's both. I've seen both. You shouldn't start a private practice with a diploma, or you shouldn't start a private practice straight out of studying. I think that's a load of hogwash as well. The argument behind this is you don't have the experience. My argument is you got the experience required in order for you to be assessed as competent. So never doubt your competency. Your competency is there. The other argument for not starting a private practice with a diploma, or even if you're, maybe you've got a bachelor or a master's or something like that, right out of school, is because, maybe you don't really know what you're doing. Again, calling BS on that. The thing is that when you start a private practice, no matter what your educational background is, when you start a private practice, you're going to be supported. You need to be responsible, of course, and make sure that you've got a supervisor in place, so that you have the support around you, so that you're regularly debriefing, you can connect with somebody and do your case formulations, make sure they're okay. You can make sure that everything that you're doing is being done correctly, all of those kinds of things. That's really important. So number one, I would recommend, at a minimum, fortnightly supervision for 90 minutes if you can. Even if you're just starting out and you've only got a handful of clients, I would definitely be doing it because you need the support. The other thing that I would recommend is you join a membership body, and you don't need to be with one of the more common ones. You don't need to be with ACA or PACFA. There are lots of different membership bodies you could be with. Like, for example, Certified Practicing Counsellors Australia. You can go and join them. It's totally fine. But the reason that that's an important thing to do is because whichever membership body you participate with will have its own code of conduct, or some call it a professional code of conduct, others call it a professional code of ethics. So you will have that. Sorry, just checking my phone here. Yep. So you will have that, and it will also outline, what to do in certain situations, and you can use that as a guide. Plus, many will have, group meetings, chapter meetings, Zoom meetings. Plus, you can get support from the Facebook communities that are built around them and all those kinds of things. So I feel if you've got supports in place and you go to that effort before you open up, then I think you can absolutely get started, and you can hit the ground running, and you can absolutely have a fully booked private practice within a few months. Like, there's no reason that you couldn't. So, again, we've got situations where other people are projecting their thoughts, their views, their opinions, their stories onto you. But you get to think critically, and you don't have to follow all the advice. You can question things, and you can ask yourself, do I really agree with that or not? Does this sit well with me or not? Does this align with me or not? Do I really agree that I should only charge $80 for the first 2 years of being in private practice? Do I really agree with that? Actually, no, I don't. Right? So I want you to always think critically about stuff. Some of the other not great advice floating around there is you need to post on social media to build your practice. Again, it's baloney. You do not need to be on social media to build your practice. In fact, I help so many women in private practice get fully booked diaries without ever being on social media, right? It's, again, baloney. You don't need to do it. This is a problem because what happens is you might be given this advice, and then you think, oh, yikes, okay, how do I do that? And so you start just, I don't know, like, I don't even know where people get the ideas from, but they'll do stuff like post inspirational quotes, or share other people's content, or I don't know, that they'll put up how-to posts all the time, like how to do box breathing, how to do this, how to do that, or educational posts and stuff, and they wonder why it doesn't work. But the thing is that it's not working because, number one, they've never learned what marketing is. Someone's just told them you've got to post on social media to get a client. So they don't understand, like, the machinations of marketing and posting on social media. And what happens is they're in Canva. I spend all this time trying to come up with a picture, an image, a graphic. And then what happens is they go and post it, and pray for an inquiry, or pray for a booking, or pray for a DM, or pray for a message or something like that. And they keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, and nothing happens. And then they're told, oh, okay, yeah, the reason that this isn't working for you is because you're only doing it once a day. Yeah, you need to be doing it multiple times a day. No, again, that's bad advice. That's absolutely not true at all. Um, you need a strategy. You need to understand what marketing is on social media, number one. You need to understand what your pillars are for your private practice, number two. Then you need to know how to implement them. The solution is not to amp up what you're already doing that's not working. What happens is that can create a trap, because then you start to think there must be something wrong with you. If other people are all using social media to fill their diaries, and it's not working for you, you start to doubt yourself, you start to question yourself, and you start to dislike social media, right? So I would just say, unless you know what you're doing with your marketing, stay off it. Like, just enjoy social media under a personal profile and just do the personal things. I'll stay off it for business. I think all your clients initially are probably going to be, for the most part, coming through your website through a Google search, and the research shows us that time and time and time again. So yeah, if somebody's telling you get on social media, just say, oh, thank you so much for that tip, I really appreciate it, and then walk away, right? um what else can I say? Oh yeah, the other thing, do discovery calls. Yeah, no, again, look, there are people who do them and they work, and if that's you, that's great. But again, unless you know what a discovery call is or what an inquiry call is, I mean, you might think, oh, it's a free 15-minute call. No, that's not what it is. That's how much it costs. That's actually not what it is. So if you don't know what it is, it's not going to be possible for you to do one, which means it's not going to be possible for you to convert a client. So again, don't bother. If you don't have the skill or the knowledge or the understanding behind it, it's going to waste your time. You're going to have it sitting on the website. People are rarely going to book. And again, you'll be stuck there thinking, well, shit, Brooklyn, I'm doing the social media post. I've got a website. I've got my discovery call. No one's even booking in. Like, I'm exhausted. I'm spending all my time on marketing and hardly seeing clients. I hear this all the time. And then people will say, oh, I've got my freebie on my website. I say, oh, do you? Okay. Who suggested a freebie? Oh, well, I just thought that's what you meant to do. Like, everybody's got a freebie, and it's a really great way of getting clients. I think, oh, okay, well, let's go and have a look at your freebie. And so, I'll go and have a bit of a look. And again, it's just done wrong. Like, they weren't ever shown by the person who suggested it how to do it. They were just told, oh, yeah, well, if you've got all these other things and it's still not working, it's probably because you don't have a freebie, right? So, yeah, you should definitely go and do that. So then the poor person sits there, therapist, private practice owner, sits there in front of Canva again, trying to make up a freebie, and they put it on their website, not understanding what the process is, not understanding what the strategy is behind it, and then wondering why it's collecting dust and nobody's downloading it. Right? So again, bad strategy unless the person who's recommended it has explained to you, all the things that kind of go into it and behind it to make it work. I've got, well, how many do I have left? Because I made a decision this year that I was getting rid of all my freebies, but I think I've got like one or two left. But if you have known me for a little while, I used to have so many of them. But now I just have one or two, because I've just changed my approach to business based on all this data that's coming out that people don't value free things. So yeah, I want people to get results. And when the data is telling me they're not getting results unless they're actually paying, then I'm not going to do free things anymore. That's where I'm at now. Could change, but that's where I'm at now. But the one or two free things that I've got are set up the right way, and they convert, right, like they should. I do have a discovery call. It converts like it should, but I know what I'm doing. This is the difference, right? There's a difference between you getting the advice and you just trying to like wing it and implement it, thinking you're on the right track here, and then you're feeling defeated and like it's a hopeless situation and you'll never be able to have a private practice because here you are doing all of the things but nothing's working. It's not about adding more things into your marketing. You can just have very lean marketing. Your whole marketing could just be your website. That's it. And you could still have a fully booked diary. Another piece of bad advice that is floating around is that you should go and do GP meet and greet. This is baloney again. This comes from allied health. It doesn't come from counselling. It comes from allied health. And somehow it's morphed its way over into the counselling community. Now, it really used to upset me seeing counsellors crash and burn with the GP meet and greets, and for that reason I have done training in our free community, our free community there, the ultimate private practice. So if you're not in it, you can come along and join us and you can watch a training. It's on Facebook. Anyway, so I have done a training and it has helped. But prior to that, and even now, for people who don't know that that training is there, they're getting told, go and do GP meet and greets. Now, here's why it's bad advice. It's bad advice because it's highly unlikely that a doctor is ever going to refer to you. No offense. It's not because you're not a nice person. It's not because you're not good at what you do. It's not because of anything like that. It's just because of the system and how it's set up. And it's not set up in the counsellor's favour. All right. So again, I know there are going to be polarity responders, and if you are getting referrals from GP meet and greets, that's awesome. But there'll be a reason for it. It'd be something like you're the only practitioner within a certain radius. There's not enough other psychologists or mental health workers to go around, or something like that. That'll be what it is. But for most counsellors, it's a big fat waste of time. Don't even bother. If you're a psychologist, go for it, right? But again, just be mindful, because not all, but a lot of the GPs will be expecting you to do it free. They'll be expecting you to do it for the rebate. And you and I both know you can't build or sustain a private practice or yourself on bulk billing. It doesn't work. And then when you tell the GP, oh, well, actually, my fee is, 200 or 220 or whatever it is that you're charging, they're not going to refer usually, because they're going to be like, oh, well, my patients never pay me, and, who do you think you are that you get paid? Like, you should just be bulk billing like all of us. And that can be the mentality at big bulk billing medical clinics, right? So just be prepared for that. And social workers, I think, really get the raw end of the stick when it comes to GP meet and greets. I don't think the AASW has done enough to convey, communicate, impart the value of the work that you do. Because the work that you do, oh my gosh, I've got no idea how you do it. And I know that so many of the clients I used to work with when I was a psychologist really relied on mental health social workers as well, right? But for some reason, GPs are just like, well, you know what? Social workers, second class citizen? No, that's how it must feel. Like, it might feel like you're a second class citizen compared to psychologists. But I think the impression that GPs can have. I know this because I heard it. I was working with them for over 20 years. I heard it from so many different doctors, is they just don't see that mental health social workers bring the same value or expertise to a patient and their well-being as a psychologist. And it's really sad that they don't understand the difference, first of all, between the two professions, but also that that value that you have just isn't getting communicated. So for you, I wouldn't bother unless you knew the nuances. And so you see, it's different for everyone. The way a psychologist rocks up to a GP meet and greet is going to be different to get it to convert than a mental health social worker, than a counsellor, right? You all need a different strategy because you've all got different barriers. Does that make sense? And even within psychology, right? Unless you're a clinical psychologist, it's hard for you to go to looking at a GP referral sometimes. So yeah, different groups within the helping professions need their own strategy. So if your supervisor is just telling you go and do meet and greets, bugger off. Like, no, not unless she's going to tell you exactly how to do it. And this is the other bad advice. When you do go and book a GP meet and greet, you should take flyers and business cards and lay them all out on the table. No, bad advice. There are other ways to do it where you don't even need to take any of your marketing materials, and you will get clients from that meeting and you'll set up referral pathways from that meeting. Again, if somebody's giving you a strategy, you've got to check in with yourself. Number one, how would I feel about implementing this strategy or this advice or this guidance? Is it resonating with me? Does it feel okay? And do I know how? Have they told me how? And you know what? If you haven't been asking how, that's okay. You can start asking now. Like, next time somebody says to you, next time you're in a online community and people are saying, oh, I don't know how to get clients, blah, 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 and you see all the advice get thrown up really quickly, because it does, just have a look. See how many people actually walk you through how to do it. And you'll see none of them do. And a lot of the time it's because they're not using those strategies effectively themselves, but they've heard that they work. Okay? So always do what feels right for you and your practice. If you really love creating reels and it brings you joy and it gets you inquiries, keep doing it. Really, keep doing it. If you really love podcasting, right? Maybe you've got a podcast on your niche for your ideal client where you share information and resources and all this kind of stuff, and you really love doing it, and it's working for you and it's building your business. Keep going. But what I want you to take away is that don't listen to all the advice that's coming up without questioning it and without seeing whether or not the person that's giving that advice actually understands the strategy behind it, right? And, why it's important and why it works and stuff like that. I want you to know that you can absolutely have an easy private practice. By that I mean you can keep it running really lean. You can do minimal marketing. You can work with the people that you really like to work with, and you can get paid the right fee for you. Okay? You can have all of those things, and it doesn't require you to do anything that's out of alignment. Okay? It doesn't require you to do anything at all that's out of alignment. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to share today. Just sort of my 5 cents on some of the more, shared, discussed, common advice going around and why it generally doesn't work and it's bad advice. And two, a lot of that advice is just really old. It's not 2025. It's not what's working now. So it doesn't really make sense for you in your private practice to be using strategies that maybe your supervisor or your friend or someone like your teacher, maybe your tutor, lecturer, was using 10 years ago, right? Things have changed. I mean, just look at the platforms, for goodness sake. If you want to even think about, say, social media, look how much Facebook's changed in 10 years. Look how much Instagram's changed in 10 years. You know, I mean, video wasn't even a thing. It was just still photos back then. So, yeah, outdated strategies won't work. But I guess the other thing too is that if you're trying all of these things and they're not working for you, I just want you to know that it's not your fault that they're not working for you. It's because the person who recommended it probably doesn't know what they're doing and it's probably not working for them, but they've just heard somewhere along the line this is what you should be doing. Um, I would say do less, focus on, like, if it was just one thing, what is the one thing you could do that would feel lightest? It would feel like least amount of effort. It would make you feel good about yourself. It make you feel good about helping, and it was going to get you the client the most quickly. What would you be doing? And I would start there. And uh, this is like, I spoke in a previous episode recently about dismantling, and this is some of what happens when people first join Momentum. We have to sort of dismantle some of what they've been doing. So we put pause on things, which can sound really scary, but we can put pause on some things while we put quick wins in place, right? We want to make sure that when you're coming in, if your big issue is you don't have the money, then don't worry about some of these other things that we're talking about now, like your social media or your email or your freebie or things like that. No, we just need to look at, okay, how do we get you a quick win right now so you've got some money coming in, and then we will start focusing on everything else. And as I said, it's a real process of dismantling, and it can feel I think scary for some people because it's what they believe. So they really believe that they've got to be on LinkedIn or social or YouTube or this, that, or the other. They really believe that. And the reason they believe it is because it's come from someone they trust, or they've heard it so many times that it's become in their mind, well, this is true. So when I'm saying, well, no, it's not true, and I can help you create a reliable, dependable strategy of bringing in clients for your practice that's not even going to require any of this. It knocks people off their kilter. No, knocks people off kilter. Knocks people off balance. It takes people aback. It's kind of like what? Because it's the opposite to what they believe to be true. It's the opposite to what they've been told. It's the opposite to what they've been trying to accomplish and achieve. Um, so it's hard to hear sometimes, not all the time. Some people are like, phew, thank God for that. Like, I don't have to be on TikTok anymore. I can get rid of it. But for other people, it's like, wow, I can't believe that I've been doing all this stuff for all this time and it wasn't working. It was pointless. Like, I've just wasted all this time. I could have been like all those nights where I was sitting down with my kids in front of the TV and I was on my phone trying to post stuff, like my captions and things like that to socials. Um, yeah, when I didn't even need to be, when it wasn't actually getting me anywhere. I think back now to all those hours that I missed out on, the time that was wasted. But I would say, if that's happened to you too, like, no, it's not time that was wasted and things missed out on. It was part of your journey, it was part of your growth process. Um, you maybe never learned about the business side of business and you tried, like, you asked for help. You just got really crappy advice and ran with it. And tried your best and you kept trying, but it hasn't worked. That's all. Um, Yeah, and then I guess after that sort of dismantling happens and we create a strategy for everybody in the program that's going to work for them, then everything starts to change. Like, oh my gosh, I see it now. I didn't see it before. And I can't believe I'm fully booked this week, Brooklyn, and I didn't have to do any social media, or I didn't have to do this, or I didn't have to do that, Like, it just makes the life so much easier. So this is about the practice momentum is about, let's simplify things. Let's get rid of all the things that you're doing that aren't working, that are a pain in the neck, that make you feel horrible about yourself. Let's get rid of all of those things and strip it right back. We're just going to go right back to basics. I'm going to help you, and we're going to create something that's going to work for you, for your practice, for your energy, for your time, all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's what we do. It's about how do we put in place quick wins initially to help you sort of get the momentum going. And then it's about, okay, and now what do we need to do? So then it's about bringing in the business processes, bringing in the business structures, making sure the right business foundations are in place. All of those kinds of things then follow. But we want to make sure that we've got, yeah, quick wins coming in for you in the very beginning, and you don't need to listen to all the bad advice to do that. It gets to be easy, it gets to be enjoyable, you get to do all the things that you really love to do and that are really important to you in the way that feel good and that really, 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 really resonate with your ideal client. That's what attraction marketing is, right? It's attracting the right people to you, right? So you never have to push, force, coerce, do all those icky, yucky things that you maybe think or feel marketing might be, and is behind some of the resistance you have to it, right? I don't believe marketing is anything like that at all, and it's not what I teach. So I hope that this has been helpful. I would love to hear what you're going to let go of. I would love to hear, what you're, yeah, and what's going to become available for you when you stop doing things that aren't working, right? And what is it that's keeping you doing the things that aren't working? That would be the other question. And what do you want to do about it all now? Yeah, I know. That's the think about, right? Big stuff. Big stuff. So, yeah, as I said to you on the previous episode, there are a few places left for Practice Momentum. Applications have been coming in this week. There were 5 places available as of Friday last week, so I don't know how many are still around now. But if you're interested, curious, want to learn more, let me know. More than happy to give you all the information that you might need. And of course, all the support that you need as well. And yeah, the other thing too, just on momentum is, yeah, the doors close on the 15th, which I think is, it's today the 11th. So we've got 4 days before the doors close. So still got a little bit of time there. And the other thing just to be mindful of is it's currently at the introductory price because I wanted to offer it to 20 people at the introductory price. Once the 20 people are in, or once it becomes the 15th of April, all bets are off and it goes to a $10,000 program, right? It's nowhere near that right now, but that's what it's going to. So if this is something that is on your mind, you've got some questions about it, you're not sure if it's right for you, you're not really sure what it involves, you're not sure what it even is and stuff like that, please let me know so that I can answer anything that you need answered so that you can make the right decision for you at this point in your business. Okay. And you can connect with me on Instagram. My handle is at the private practice coach, or you can just connect with me on, what was I going to say? Facebook. It's just Brooklyn Storme, Storm with an E. All right. So yeah, let's ditch the bad advice. Let's simplify your private practice. Have a beautiful day. Talk to you soon. Bye.